Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Power Man Podcast. My name's Rory Paquette. You guys all know that. I am your absolutely grateful host, especially today. Folks, I cannot tell you how great this day has been already. Got to watch my daughter-in-law, soon-to-be daughter-in-law, graduate today with her master's. It was an absolutely wonderful morning. And, of course, my son, who's getting ready to marry that young lady, is incredibly happy. He's just cheesing ear to ear all over the place. And just a happy day for our family. And I love being able to come here, share that with you, and share things with you folks about advancing your mission, about trying to be better tomorrow than we are today as men, as fathers, as husbands. You folks have shown up in droves ever since we went to 5 days. And I cannot thank you enough for that. If you're not out there subscribing and liking and sharing and sending hundreds of DMs, which I'm still trying to get back to you all on, I will, I promise. Folks, if you're not doing what you're doing, I don't get to sit here and do what I'm doing. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. If you haven't reached out to us yet, Instagram at Power Man Podcast. Check us out there. Or you can always find me on Facebook under my name, which you all know what it is at this point. I'm not going to waste your time. Now, if you're a friend of the program, you know what time it is. We got to pay some bills. So let me take a sip of my preferred beverage. Man, that's good. Man, that is good stuff. You guys all know what we're drinking. That's right. It's Freedom Hill Coffee at Freedom Hill Coffee on Instagram. Look them up. Check them out. Deep, dark, rich, bold, and beautiful. Just like my wife. They do a really awesome job. They brew a mean bean. They do all the right things for all the right reasons, and they support veterans, which you guys all know is incredibly important to us here at Power Man. We have a ton of veterans that follow us. Appreciate every one of you, and we support you to the nth degree. Believe me, folks. Freedom Hill Coffee at Freedom Hill Coffee on Instagram. Tell them Power Man sent you. Now, let me get one more sip of this so I can keep up with this young buck sitting across the table from me. Guy looks like a linebacker. I'm not sure I could, outrun him. I'll tell you that right now. All right, let's rock and roll. Here we go. Please welcome to the show. And I'm not even sure I can get all this guy's accolades into the intro, but we're going to try and get a couple in there. He's a podcaster. He is an author. He is a father, a grandfather, and get ready, a great grandfather, which I just think is fantastic. Frankly, if nothing else hit this line right now, congratulations, brother, on that, because that is such a huge accomplishment in today's world. On top of everything else, he's an ordained minister, which I think might just be the core of the whole enchilada here. Please welcome to the show, known in entertainment circles as Mista Yu. Please welcome Yusef Marshall. Yusef, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, Roby. Thanks for having me, brother. This is fun already. I'm already enjoying this.
I appreciate it.
I want to try Freedom Hill now. I'm like, I've been looking for a coffee I can get behind. So this might be a double blessing for me here. All right, so let's go.
Well, I
Let's do
appreciate it.
this.
I got to tell you, too, I actually do drink it. Like, it's not even a joke.
Yeah,
That's what's
yeah,
in this cup right now. I drink that stuff
yeah.
all day.
I'm
So
I'm on board already.
check them out. Check them
I
out.
like it. I'm
That's
going to do
right.
that.
All right, then. So I tell you what, go ahead and tell our folks. I'm sure they're all really wondering. Please pardon my dog in the background there. We don't edit on this show. So if the dog barks, cat crawls in your head, life happens, man. That's just what we do.
Boom.
But yeah, give us an idea of who is Yusef, what are you about, and why are you here today?
Oh my goodness. What am I about? I think I have to ask myself that question every single day. I got a long background. I guess I consider myself a jack of all trades and a wearer of many hats. I've done so many different things in life in this more than half a century of living. And I just kind of feel like I'm not an expert at anything. People might disagree and say, oh, you got degrees, you got this kind of paper certification, you done this. I'm just somebody who's just a lifelong learner. I'm a learner and I'm a seeker, man. I'm just trying to just learn as much as I can, build on knowledge, gain and add wisdom to my life. So yeah, I'm a minister. Yeah, I'm people call me mentor and coach throughout different parts of the country. And this podcast thing is a life of its own now. So now I'm a full-fledged podcaster. I'm doing it on a regular basis now, which is like didn't think was gonna happen. So I do a lot of stuff, man. But at the end of the day, I'm a man, I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a son. I'm a brother to hopefully people who can say, you know what, this is my brother right here. I'm part of the hood. But beside that, man, I'm just a man who wants to please God. with everything that I do. And that's just not words I'm saying. I really, and privately, I feel it this way. So publicly, I try to show what I feel like privately. I just want to just be able to hit the words, well done, my good and faithful servant. That's all I want to accomplish in this life. So wherever that takes me, whether it be in business and on nonprofit, whatever I'm doing in life, I just want to hear the words, well done, my good and faithful servant. Because I did what I was supposed to do with this life that I've been blessed to have. So long answer to your short question, but that's just where I am.
Yeah, I love that. Long answers go a long way, but it's less work for me, so it all works out. But I love your answer, to be honest with you. And at the end of the day, I think that's all any of us can ask for. But I love the way you said, hey, I'm a father, I'm a son, so on and so forth. Those are the things that I think too often we take for granted in this world. And I love that you just pronounced them out there like, hey, here I am. This is who I am. Let's knock out some of these accomplishments you have here. All right. Let's let
What
everybody know
accomplishments?
what you're about. Well, first of all, let's talk briefly. You wrote a book, and not everybody can write a book. Okay. And you were the author of The Heart of the Stepfather. Tell me quickly about what that book was about, and why you wrote it. And then we'll move on to the next thing because we got so much to cover for you here.
A powerful story. Excuse me. I, the best way I can simplify this and bring it down to the lowest common denominator, it was definitely God inspired. Because for me, I'm a self-professed introvert. Nobody believed that when they watch my shows. Nobody, and even my wife doesn't totally buy into that. But that's where I am. I'm a warm blanket, warm cup of tea, warm cup of Joe God. Don't bother me. I'm good. Just let me do me. That's just where I am in life. But so writing a book and having my face and name and my words and my stories out here in podcasting or in authorship, not my plan, not my, oh, I want to be an author. That never happened. But I felt compelled to write this because of what I was dealing with in my own household as being the leader of a blended family, having a very challenging relationship with my father when he was alive. Uh, what relationship there was, which wasn't much. I basically chased him around the country trying to get his love and
Wow.
trying to get his acceptance. And people came through in and out of my life, but I chased him for years trying to get that love. And when I finally caught up, I still didn't get it. And he ended up dying as a result of uh, some challenges from his time in Vietnam. So I never got a chance to fulfill that dream. So that book came out of all of that. How can I be a father to three beautiful daughters and didn't have one myself? So I wrote that book to kind of demystify what it's like. I see it on TV played out in arts and cinema and stuff, but I want to show a real life example of what it's like to step into this role and say, you know what, I reject the whole step part of this role. I'm not stepping in for anybody. I'm here and I'm doing it all the way. I'm the father, I'm the dad, nobody else in a way matters. I'm doing this. So I rejected the title of stepfather. Even though the book is named that, I rejected that. I said, no, you don't call me that. That's not who I am. I'm dad, I'm papa, I'm father, I'm whatever you want to call me, but I'm not that. So that book came out of almost a lifetime of hurt, a lifetime of abandonment and a lack of acceptance. And I put it all into a way where it wasn't a sob story, but it was hopefully a cautionary tale, along with being maybe some instruction that I learned throughout the journey that might help somebody who's in the same spot I was in. So that's where that book came from. We put it out in 2016. It was doing very, very well before we had some issues with the publisher and their business. But it was a blessing to the people who had it in their hands, that bought the book, who read it. I haven't heard one bad thing about it up to this point. But I got other books that I got sitting on a computer, just haven't pulled the trigger. I had three of them, and that's out. I'm thinking about bringing that one back out, but just kind of just sitting there like, let's see what happens. I'm not pushing it. I'm not pushing and shoving. I'm just waiting and listening and pondering the thought of it. And when the time is right, I'll be back to being a current author again. But we'll see what happens though. But
Current
for
author,
now, I'm
right on.
just, yeah, right now. I'm a former author now, I guess.
Yeah, I love that though because the world needs more leaders who are willing to use their own pain, use their own suffering, not just to sit there and wallow in it, but to step up, to shake it off, and to say, "Hey, I'm going to help others that have been through this. Show them how they can deal with it. Show them how they can take that step forward." We do not have enough, men stepping into leadership like that in this
Tell
in
me
this
about it.
country, for
Tell
sure.
me about it.
So the fact that you're willing to do that and that you wrote this book to help other men, who were in a similar position, and you basically said, "Look, if I could do this, so can you." I love that you did that. What drove you to write something, to put yourself out there like that, and to say, I'm going to go help somebody else?
Yeah, I think the writing part of it was easy. I was writing since I was 5 or 6 years old, literally. I actually thought I was going to be my vocation because I was doing it so early. I was writing journals when I was like 6 years old. I would take pictures or help my mom help me take pictures. She would help me out a lot at that age, and I would take the pictures and put them onto paper on a college rule paper, and then I would write stories about the pictures. I was doing that since I was 6, 7 years old. So I kind of thought that that came pretty easy to me. I think learning how to write in a style that goes into a book, that's a learning curve. But I think I had so much stuff inside of me. I had how do I get it out? I think that was the answer that was the most apparent to me. I need to write a book. I was writing journals and stuff. And I was like, I feel like I got so much more, and it just turned into so much. I'm like, all these journals in my house is not. I don't see it to be feasible. So I had to find an outlet for it. I just needed one because I had that much stuff pent up in me. I had to deal with it first before I put it on paper because it was pretty brutal stuff to go through a lot of these stories and heartbreak and betrayal, et cetera, et cetera. It's like a Lifetime TV movie on steroids. So I just got to find some way to get that stuff out of me. So the book seemed to be the right answer. I took some counsel from some people who I trusted, and it just seemed to be the right answer. And it's kind of what precipitated it. I probably wrote the whole book, 194 pages. I probably wrote it in about 6 weeks.
Hmm, wow.
So it was really intense. Every day I was writing. After a long day working for the government, I would come home and I would write, 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 write. Stay up late, write, write. Get up in the morning, do it all again the next day. I was writing constantly. So it was a mission. I had to get it finished. I'm surprised that it got published. I'm surprised that it went that far because I'm not even sure that was the plan. I just want to get it on paper and get it out of me. And that's kind of what. Hope I answered the question, but that's kind of how it started. That's how it came about.
Absolutely.
It was a very feverish pitch that I was on, but it had to be done. So I'm just kind of. I'm excited I was able to do that because now I wish I can do more with it, but that's why I have these side consultations and counseling sessions so I can talk to folks about that. Since there's no book for them to use as a model, I have to talk to them about that, for my life and kind of just that's what I've been doing on the side that nobody knows about except now. They all know about it
Well,
now.
now they're going to know about it. Thousands of people know about it now, man. Just
Oh,
let
my
the cat out of the
therapist.
bag.
Yeah,
I mean,
big mouth over here,
well,
but it's all
we
good.
get more than 20 downloads, man. A lot of people are going to hear this.
I
So,
love it. I love it.
since you went ahead and put it out there, you offer 30-minute free consults to folks to discuss personal and spiritual growth. You want to talk about that for a sec, and then we'll move on?
Yeah, definitely. These are the kind of things that, especially this kind of topic, and your shows are doing a great example. Is a great example of doing that for this community. I appreciate you for doing that.
Thank you.
The whole man fatherhood piece. If we take our cues from the media, we think that we're the worst things going, and we should all be stripped of our authority and plunged into some big hole somewhere. But there's just so much more to us than that.
Yeah.
This is a book that I read that I love so much. It's called Wild at Heart by John Eldridge.
Yeah.
That's my manhood book right there. That if you read that, even if you're not a man, if you read that, you understand better. If you read with an open mind, you understand better why men are so complex and what we actually need. That book is the elite for me. But I do those consultations for that reason, because I want to kind of speak to those people who have those same kind of issues that I had. I can't say, go buy the book. I can't direct them that way right now. So I have to find some way to still share me in that opportunity. So I do it those consultations for that reason. Another one is because whether it's in podcasting, anyone that's listening to Inspiration Station or any of our one-on-ones and stuff, they always have questions about purpose. I get all those side questions, DMs about purpose all the time. People I talk to in side conversations in our ministry, even in my community, it's always about purpose. So these consultations are just about kind of getting to the heart of someone that's I can't be God and try to tell you where to go and who to be. God didn't make you. You know what I'm saying? A Toyota, you think probably your car is a Toyota. You don't go to Hyundai to find out how to get it fixed. You go back to the manufacturer. So
Right.
that's an important obligation that we all have as creation. But I try to take the time, even if it is just 30 minutes, to kind of just speak to and hear what's going on with that person, and maybe perhaps share some things that I believe I'm hearing, some things that I've been through and experienced, and maybe start a journey, perhaps with them or maybe independent of them, start a journey to kind of help them, get to the place where they can be able to be fulfilled in this life and not just walk
Nice.
around like zombies because too many of us are doing that right now, especially us men, walking
Well,
around just
yeah.
going to work, bringing home the bacon, and it's all we got to offer. Our kids don't even know us, So,
Come home, crash, drink a beer, put on Netflix, fall asleep, rinse, repeat,
yep,
keep going. Yeah, I hear you, man.
yes, sir.
I'm glad you brought up that book, Wild at Heart. That's one of the signature books of the whole movement. You know what I mean? And it's a great book. So I could not agree with you more there. I love that you're doing that though. The 30-minute consultation and offering to help folks with that. You're giving of yourself, of your time again to help people out. Where it goes from there is between you and them. But just so everybody knows, all the stuff that Yusef talks about today, all these links that I can find, they're all going to be in the show notes. So if you hear something and you can't find something, just contact us here at Power Man. We'll make sure that we get you hooked up with this guy. But I'll have all these links to everything that he's talking about.
Thank you, sir.
So I want to make sure we get that out. You did bring up your media company and your podcast and your brand and all that. You were the founder of Mirror Time Media. Now, under that, you've got a podcast called They Call Me Mista Yu, sorry. And underneath that, there's three shows. So tell everybody briefly just how that all works. The three shows are Inspiration Station, One on One with Mr. U, and Big Blue Lifers. So I'm going to let you just tell everybody a little bit about what you do with the podcast
Okay.
and the shows and how it all kind of fits together.
I'm amazed I get flustered by doing this. It's like this is what I'm doing all the time, every day. But I feel like I'm like not worthy somehow. But as far I go with the I guess the quote least important one right now, and that's the Big Blue Lifers podcast. I was doing a sports show for about 3 years. It was our flagship show. We just ended it on May 1st, and it was just a kind of a call to kind of step away from that. I have a huge sports network on Twitter and TikTok, but I just didn't feel like that was where I needed to be putting all my attention into.
Mhm.
So over 22,000 people are not going to
Wow.
hear me do all that stuff anymore. So I kind of just backed away from that. That was kind of almost a gesture to a young man who I've done this before with other people. I helped them start shows, and then I kind of let them go off and do their own thing and evolve, and I would step back. This is kind of like that now. So Big Blue Life is a opportunity for us to talk about our home team, which is the New York Football Giants in the NFL, and we just talk candidly about them. We interview folks who are connected columnists, former athletes, that kind of stuff, and we just have fun with it. Inspiration Station, that's kind of my opportunity to speak to people one on one. It's not subscriber content. It's just what we do Monday through Wednesdays. I get a chance to talk candidly to people, wherever you are in the world and in the country, and kind of just talk about life, talk about purpose, try to just encourage you to be the best person you can be. We call that one of our mottos is with your weekly mirror check before you go change the world. I'm going to talk about being, developing you because at the end of the day, we can point fingers all day. We're in a world where that's all we do. You know what I'm saying? But if you really want to make a change, you got to start with you and the man in the mirror. So we talk about just taking care of being accountable and making sure you take care of the growth that is required of you before you go try to change the world around you. So that's a one-on-one. It's usually about 10 to 15 minutes tops where we just kind of I just talk from a topic base of some things that may be on my heart or that I'm hearing from people. I speak to it for about 10 minutes or so and get out of there. I don't take too much of your time. It's pretty simple. The one-on-one show, I really feel like God is really breathing on this because I've been interviewing before this, but it's just taking off. And I can't even credit any community that we're a part of together. I can't even credit them for this. It's going to a place where I didn't even think it would go. I'm meeting people from all around the world. I'm talking about really interesting people who are developers of tech, people who are into AI, people who are living RV lifestyles. I mean, I'm meeting all kind of incredible people who are just doing amazing things, and it's a joy to interview people all the way I've been doing at this pace that I've been doing, which is a very feverish pace. But I wouldn't trade it for a second. Now I'm starting to be in the guest role, which is what brought me here today. So this is a little bit different because now I had to sit here and be like, okay, now I can't ask all the questions. I'm the one being asked all the questions. Like, oh. super uncomfortable, but hopefully I'm doing a good job. But this is what we're doing. This is the brand. I guess you could say they call me Mr. Yu is how it started. I started off with a show for about 3 seasons on Apple Podcasts. You can find them. Those are some of this is going to sound self-aggrandizing, and I really don't mean it to. Honestly, with all my heart, the first 3 seasons that may be some of the greatest work I've ever done in podcasting to date. Nothing has come close to that, and I don't even know why, except to say that it was the most authentic I've ever been in my entire life. I turned that
Wow.
mic on, and the things that come out of me have been incredible. I've been changed. I cried listening to my own podcast. That's how I know it was good. You know what I'm saying? And it was like those first 3 seasons, you can't find them on YouTube because they're not video, they're only audio only. But on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, however you listen to your platforms, the podcast platforms, that was that's what started all of this stuff. It came from that. So I go back and listen to them all the time because it's that meaty for me. So I teach myself
Wow.
from those first 3 seasons. So that's where it started, man. It started from there, and now it's where we are right now. I don't know what the future's going to hold, but this has just been a ride to do these interviews and guesting and hosting and just talking to the people about life and purpose. Because I mean, man, I wish I had that when I was younger. I didn't have it. I wish I had me talking to me when I was younger.
Right.
But
Yeah, I'm with you. I wish that I had someone out there talking, the way I talk all the time, and some of these other folks that are out there,
yeah.
people like you. We didn't have any of this,
Uh-uh.
in media. We were lucky if we didn't have it from our fathers, we had to go find it in like movies or like TV shows. And I joke around. I feel like Sylvester Stallone is like more of a father figure to me than, than anything I had because I grew
Mine
up
was
on
Bill
Rocky,
Cosby, so
right?
yeah. Mine
Okay.
was Bill Cosby. I can't say that out loud now, but that was the that was my
Well, okay, the old Bill Cosby. I understood what you meant. It still had some meaning, for those of us who were around
I
back
had to
then.
make that one clear.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's hilarious. I love to hear that the one-on-one podcast is blowing up for you and is doing great. That's fantastic. I mean,
Incredible. It's
congratulations. I love seeing
incredible,
that kind of
man.
success, man, in what we
It's
do.
incredible. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful.
I, I,
Are you? I want to ask like 50 podcast questions, so I'm going to pull back now. Hold on, let me get that under
oh,
control
okay.
because
Okay.
this is Power Man. I got to remember what podcast I'm doing. When I talk to you on Podcaster Nation, then I'm going to ask you 1,000 different podcast questions. But
Let's go. I'm
folks,
excited.
listen to that one too. Go check out that podcast. But here on Power Man, we got other things to talk about. So I love that you're doing the podcast. I love you using that as a media to get your message out and do the things you're doing. Um, you're an ordained minister.
Yeah.
How did that come about? Was there a defining moment that made you go, you know what I need to do, or I'm being called to do this, or was it something that was just gradual work in progress and ended up there?
I guess it's a kind of a combination. It's kind of a hybrid. The journey started it in 1996 when I moved from New York down to South Carolina. Excuse me. The I was doing the work that a quote unquote ordained minister was doing, but in the organization that I was a part of, they wouldn't pull the trigger on making it official. So I would just do the work for free, which is fine. But I would do the work and not really have the recognition of it, and that's fine too. I wasn't after recognition anyways, but that was just it was gradual that way. But I think in about 20. So just trying to see it on the wall of it to remember the year, but it was 2022. Yeah, 2022, 23. I was part of a new ministry. It was fantastic for me, and the opportunity presented itself, and I'm like, I've done this stuff before. I've been through all these internship programs and these ministry programs. I'm like, I never seen it do anything for anybody, so I don't want to do that. But this one was kind of it was more of a rite of passage this time. It was like, you know what? This is this is you kind of how do I put this in a way that it makes sense? I feel like because all of the church hurt I went through, I had to kind of rebuild myself. You know how you go into the military and they break you all the way down and then build you back up?
Oh yeah.
That's what I was dealing with in the church's military. I was broken all the way down. I said, you know what? I need to build myself back up. So I went through a process that I didn't think I really needed. I didn't think for sure it was going to help me. I said, I went through the process of being licensed one year and then ordained the following year. Went through all of the programs, breezed through them like it was nothing. Not to brag, it was just they were easy for me. I've done it so many years. It was like it was easy. But I needed to go through the process, slow down and speed up, so to speak, and make sure that I understood the entire principles of where I was, the rules and the standards that were being set, and almost relearn what it means to walk in ministry and do it with integrity, as opposed to just doing it for other not so solid reasons. So it was a rite of passage I had to just go through so I could be a better version of me. So I went through it, went through the long program, and it was a blessing. My wife is getting ready to finish hers in a couple of months, so she would never do anything like this. She was like, if she saw what I went through, she would never do this, but she did it. So it's a testimony to this program and this ministry. So I didn't think about, what, I'm gonna be all day. I can marry folks and I can bury folks. I didn't. It was never my goal or my plan. People might ask me to marry him. I'm like, okay, I just want to just grow me. Whatever that looks like along the way is fine. I'm not chasing clout. I'm not trying to be the next anything. I'm not trying to be popular. Honestly, my demeanor is like, I don't really care. I'm like that about most things in life. I don't care. I hear what they say on TV to me, but I don't care about that, because the truth of what I need to care about is way more silent and way more subtle. I need to be paying attention to that. That's the life changing stuff. So I'm grateful to be licensed and ordained, and I can do anything in ministry, I guess, theoretically, that I want to. But I'm most concerned about growing me, because at the end of the day, if I don't do that, what good am I really? How can I pour out of an empty cup and fill somebody else's cup?
Right.
Right?
100%. Let me just say, you mentioned earlier, am I doing okay in the guest chair? You're doing beautifully in the guest chair because
I don't know.
you're still sort of hosting, which I love. I'm getting
I
such a
am?
kick out of this,
That
man,
was no way. Wait.
because what you're doing is you're putting down the perfect segue for our next thing. And I'm like, well, you laid it down for me, so here we go. I'm just walking along, picking it up behind you. I'm doing almost no work, man. I mean, seriously,
Oh man.
if I'd have known it was going to be this easy, I probably would have just brought a sandwich, to this interview, because I'm good to go.
Oh,
But
come on.
you talked about, you just mentioned, the important stuff, the stuff that really matters. I don't care about this because I got to care about the stuff that really matters. Tell us about the stuff that really matters.
Excuse me. I'd love to, because I think that's the one thing that, you know, when I talk to folks about purpose and I get into that, I know there's always some pushback when you have combos about that, because what you basically do is say, you know what, all that you've been doing all these years hasn't amounted to anything. You need to chuck that and almost restart. That never goes over well. But people want their purpose. They want to know what the purpose is, but they don't want to tear nothing down to build anything up new. They want you to add some fixtures to what they already have going on. I'm like, that's not how you find it. That's not how it works. So to me, the weighty matter, things that matter in life, and it's just me talking now. Somebody else that's listening may have a whole different thing. Their daughter might be the entire world, and their whole life is revolved around their daughter. I've met folks like that. They almost worship their own children. Side note, they're just separate. But all I'm saying is that the weightier matters are the things that pertain to you as far as character, integrity, and building you as a person. Now, me as a man, I got work to do on myself constantly. You know, I'm an avid reader. I read a lot. I listen to a lot of things that will edify me and grow me up. Uh, I spend a lot of time pondering, okay, how can I do this fatherhood thing better? How can I be a better husband to my wife of 20, nearly 30 years now? How do I improve on this? How do I make this where, you know, I'm not just trying to be able to say happy wife, happy life, because I don't really buy into that one. I'm more of a happy spouse, happy house person. So I really want to make sure I'm building on me so that I can be able to produce that, because she's not my better half, and she'll never say that because that's not vernacular that she uses. We don't agree with that in this household. You know what I'm saying? But we help each other grow, and we kind of force something in each other that really matters. So my father, being a father, being a son to my mother, who's still in New York that loves her firstborn very much. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to honor her as much as I can while she's still here with us, being a brother to all of these men that I know need it. Even the sisters that, a whole bunch of sisters that love me as a brother and need me in their life for whatever the reason is, you know? And just all those areas, that's a lot of hats to wear. It's a lot of work to do that. And I can't abdicate that. I gotta make sure that I'm taking care of my business. Those are the way that it matters for me. I love the ministry. I love having being known as this and that. I'm a worship leader in our church as well. I'm known for singing, you know, anybody that has YouTube can see it. You know what I'm saying? I'm known for that, but I I'm concerned about the character. Where am I singing from? Where am I teaching from? Where am I ministering from? How am I developing leaders if I'm not developing me? So those are the weightier matters because it makes me the best husband I can be, the best father I can be, the best son I can be, the best brother I can be, the best minister, worship leader, podcaster. All of that stuff matters. And so I'm working on myself constantly. I don't like what I see all the time. You know what I'm saying? But I'm working. I'm trying to address it and deal with it because I heard something from an old pastor of ours. I won't name her because she's really famous, and I don't want to say her name. But old pastor would always say this all the time, every week. She would say that you can't conquer what you won't confront, and those are the kind of things that's like I need to make sure that I'm in the right place, not only with God, but in the right place with morally where I know my standards are. If you don't have any, separate conversation you might need to have. But for me, I need to make sure I'm in that place so I can be all these things to all these people. It really starts. It's not narcissism. It's just I know it starts with me. Like I said, I can't pour out into anybody else's life if I don't have some stuff straight in my own. So, did I answer the question about the weightier matters? Because that's kind of weird. That's kind of where it is.
I think you definitely started us down that path. I'm not sure we're done with it, but you definitely took us down the right road,
Let's go, baby.
which I love. You mentioned in there, building leaders and teaching leadership, talking to. It sounds like you're running, kind of building a discipleship. Almost, which
Mhm.
I think all of us that are involved in the church have a responsibility to do something of that
Yeah.
nature. But there's ways to do that. And we all have different strengths and different weaknesses. And, for one of the things I'm always telling young people is that don't try to be me. Don't try to be that guy or that guy. Look into you and what can you do to further the guy next to you? What can you do to reach out and help your brother and help him up a little bit? And sometimes that's leadership. Sometimes that's, just leading your family, you know? When you talk about leadership and you talk about teaching it to people, where do you go with that? What does it mean to you?
It's important to me, and I think that I realized that, you know, in order for you, and like I said, it starts with you. I believe that strong families produce strong communities produce strong cities produce strong states produce strong nations, and a stronger world. So it really starts with you. When we talk about doing stuff with leadership and the development of leaderships, it's really a lot of it is discipleship driven. It's a concept that I don't hear much about lately. People talk about mentorship and it kind of gets tossed around. And that's why people call me coach and mentor. I cringe because I'm like, if they know me, I don't cringe because they know my heart. But if it's somebody who doesn't know me and they kind of just know what I've done and they call me that, I cringe. I'm like, hope they're not boxing me in with these other mentors and coaches out here that don't do anything like that. And
Hmm.
mentor to me is like Elijah and Elisha. I'm walking with the person. That's how, I mean, I can't do that with everybody because time won't allow that. But I want to walk with the person. I want to grow with the person until they feel like they've outgrown me and they're ready to move on to whatever. I'm good with that, but I want to walk with them. And leadership development for me is basically akin to me walking around with a sledgehammer every day. Because what I see is I see leaders, especially in the church, that are being built up so they can have a role or a position or a title. My sledgehammer is to break that stuff down before it even gets started. And that's why, my style of leadership development is maybe perhaps crass in some people's minds because I can't feed those egos. I won't do it. I know what it's going to become. I know it's not my job to make anybody become something, but in my role with leadership development, I'm thinking about the discipleship. I'm like, okay, who are you modeling in what you're trying to accomplish? What would he say? What is he exhibited for you? What is he showing you? You know what I'm saying? And stay close to the model. stay close to the standard. And once we do that, it really leaves no doubt about what kind of leader a person needs to become if they want to do it right. Does that make sense?
100%. Absolutely.
Okay, so
Yeah. No, I love that you touched on that too, because there's a sense of false leadership out there. There
yeah,
really is. The sort of the paper tigers that are put up, as leaders, and oh, hey, look at this guy, or hey, look at this guy over here, and you look down and he's being held up by everybody else. He didn't get there on his own. He can't teach
yeah,
someone else how to get there. He's just there because
right.
that's where he wanted to be, and he knew the right folks. I think we have way too much of that, but I love that you started sort of delineating that already as we're sitting here talking. I am curious. I mean, you have all the qualifications in the world over here to have
I
this
do.
conversation. But in my life, what I have seen is right now more than ever before, and I've been on this planet more than half a century, and more than ever before, there's a shortage of leaders trying to lead to teach other men how to lead. It's like once you get into a leadership position, people are so afraid of losing it, or of someone coming for them, that leaders aren't building leaders anymore. And, I wonder
Hmm.
if some of that is because we really can't decide what we're supposed to be teaching men to do. I mean, we touched on this briefly, but, and you mentioned, that if a man tries to stand up and lead his family, you get stoned at some point to go sit back down. They throw
God,
you in a
yeah.
pit, right? So, what is your view of what men should be doing to lead their families, their communities, their cities, their states?
You asked the best question, Bobby. I love it, man.
Well, thanks, man.
Uh, that's fantastic. Uh, think about the Apostle Paul in this. He talks about how we have so many teachers but very few fathers, so many instructors but so many few fathers, and I feel like as a whole, we're I use the word abdicate again. I don't know where these big words are coming from, but I think we abdicate our role as that. And Wilder Hart gets into that stuff a lot too. So it's a great book. Again, we're giving John Eldridge some pub, but that's what we're doing. What we're doing is trying to find an easier way to do the hard thing. It's like it's not it's never going to work out right. I mean, if you try to build a house and you try to take shortcuts, you don't want to live there for more than a few years. You're going to see the result of your shortcutting. You know what I'm saying? So I think as men, we don't do that. We don't recognize, you know what? We have we have the DNA of a father inside of us. Even if we don't, even if we're damaged and we're broken, like I admittedly was for not more than 5 years ago, before I got healed. You know what I'm saying? We abdicate that role in our everyday life. I don't mean the father to whether you have kids or not. That's not what I mean. I'm talking about just generally speaking. We have that DNA in us to mentor, to build, to construct, to raise up, and we don't use it, you know. And we spend our time wallowing in self pity. We spend our time pointing fingers at what we didn't have. And I was one of those. I was a chief. I was a chief in that regard, so I can speak to this. You know what I'm saying? And I spent all my time blaming and feeling sorry for myself. And I'm like, I have the ability to build. Excuse me. We can talk about credentials and stuff. It makes me laugh. I'm like, I mean, I'm being as transparent as possible here. Sometimes I don't see it, man. People like you have my wife, who's my best friend. She had to remind me of what I've done. I I don't have memory loss. I don't, but I don't remember that stuff. I don't remember well, I don't see the value of it in the way that people on the outside that are receiving it may. So I laugh when you say what you said about credentials. I'm like, credentials. Am I qualified to talk about any of this stuff? Because sometimes I don't feel like I do, but there is something inherently on the inside of it. We got to find it. We got to seek after it. But we have the ability to. Scripture teaches it all the time. We have the ability to build and create and teach and model. We have that. The tragedy is that we don't pass it down, and we see that especially through Old Testament. That's why they always have morals about everything. That's why everything was written down to make sure that the next generation didn't forget what God has done, didn't forget the miracle, didn't forget the capabilities that we have as his people, as members of this kingdom. And when it was forgotten, when it wasn't written down or acknowledged, that's when all the bad stuff happened. And that's what's going on right now. We have the ability, I mean, even me with all my deficiencies from a father standpoint and not having a role model of that, I've been able to, I'm not saying I have a whole bunch of children everywhere. That's not really what I'm saying, but spiritually, I've fathered a lot of people. Some of them without even acknowledge that it even happened. They forgot me already, and that's fine. But I've done that with a lot of people, and I've given everything that I was able to give. And how do you do that when it was never given to you? It's a mystery, but it's my life, and I feel like it's the life of every man out here that's listening to this. You have the capability of doing the same thing. You got to tap into the source. You got to plug into that outlet, but you have the ability to change somebody's life for the better, even if yours sucked for several years. You have the ability to still do that because it's inside of you. The power is inside of you. It's beyond you. It's outside of you. 2 Corinthians 4:7 is a scripture I love to throw out there because that's the one. 2 Corinthians 4:7. We have this great treasure in earthen vessels. Earthen vessels die, they fade away, these bodies, but the treasure, that's where the power is. That's the power that's working. That's the power that's moving and changing things. That's how lives get transformed. So for me, I'm like, I think we fall short. To answer your question, we fall short because we don't recognize that we have that, and we're looking at all the stuff that we don't have and how we feel and getting emotional and getting all of our feelings about stuff like, yeah, but we got a responsibility and a role and we can't abdicate it for anybody. We got to fight for this thing because nobody can give us nothing, as you already stated very eloquently a little bit a few minutes ago. Nobody's going to give us anything. They'll throw us in the pit and stone us first. Nobody can give us anything. But we got to fight for this. I'm not saying, oh, we're men. I'm not trying to go there, but I'm kind of trying to go there. We got to fight for this. Nobody's going to give us anything. Nobody's going to pat us in the back and say, oh, you did a great job. They might, but they might not. We got to know, you know what? This is worth fighting for, and it's worth passing down so that my sons can fight for it, and so on and so, and our daughters can marry guys who are willing to fight for it, and say, you know what? I'm not gonna become the media's version of what a man's supposed to be because that blows. So we got to be who God says we are. We got to be what the Bible says we are. And I'm not talking about being just being a warrior or being a pioneer. I'm talking about just being the essence of who we're supposed to be, an example, and go out here and building people's lives, build men up to be who God called them to be.
Man, I knew I'd get an answer to that one, but wow.
Did I even answer it?
Loved it. Heck yeah, you did. um, wow, man. No, I love that. And I love that you're just being honest about it. You know, obviously we could talk all day about what the media's done, over the last few years to try and put that, push us down,
Jeez.
put us away. I think that inherently, this has added to a lot of the issue too. And maybe you can give me your opinion on this, if you don't mind. A little off the cuff. We'll throw one at you I didn't prepare you for.
Okay.
Um, while we're talking about this, I think that men feel this way innately. I think it's part of who we are. It's what I talk about on my podcast all the time. I think it's part of our DNA. We're meant to lead the situation. We're meant to fix. We're meant to, go out and protect and provide. It's what we do. And when we are told and forced and coerced into giving all that up, to where we are zombies, like what you talked about,
Right.
and we're just coasting through life, in the gray matter. I think that even on the outside, we look like we're zombies. On the inside, there is a low burning level of frustration because we aren't who we are called to be. And that frustration is what comes out in all of in the bad ways. That's the stuff that comes out in, abuse and in bad parenting and in, divorce, men being absent mentally, emotionally, physically. So I think this is a huge problem for men because even though you don't see that they're pounding their masculinity away, they need it. And so one of the things that I try to do is to wake men up to say, look, you can't get away from this.
Yeah.
Um, I think that there's, a way to do that through faith. I think there's a way to do that, in a biblical sense. As you teach leadership and as you pass on to these people, these things that we talk about. And as you build mentors and you build leaders, how do we do that? How do we how do we start rescuing ourselves as men so that we can start passing it on the way we need to, so that our young men don't grow up with that frustration and that burn and that hopelessness?
Hmm. I got two answers to this. I know the first one's going to be super biblical. So forgive those who just hate religion. I hate religion too, so I'm part of the same club. No worries there. But I think it goes back to the reference I made about Toyota and Hyundai. You know what I'm saying? If you got a problem with one, you don't go to the other for help because they didn't manufacture. They have no idea the inner workings of it. And honestly, the Bible is the best place to look at the inner workings of who we're supposed to be as creation. Even if you don't agree with things, you don't believe in miracles, whatever, it's a debate we can have on the side. But honestly, that is the book that has changed my life. And I read a lot of books. I have my entire life. I've been an avid reader for a long time. I've digested a lot of people's works. But this is the only book I could think of that still lives and it still moves and it still breathes and it still challenges me. It still pulls me deeper. It pulls me closer to him. It makes me want to grow more. It exposes my sin. It reminds me of what's not right so I can fix it. You know what I'm saying? That is the only book I can think of that can do that. So for me, number one, that's where we find out who we are or who we're intended to be. So I got to put that up as number one. I'm sorry for all the people who I offended. This is not my show, so I'm gonna leave out of here in a little while and just kidding. But I'm glad I offended you in that regard because it was important. But number two is community. Now, this is a tough one. I go on shows talking about men stuff and fatherhood and brotherhood stuff. I know this is a tough subject for men to connect in the under the auspices of community. I know it's hard because self-isolate is what we do. It's not a good thing, but it's what we do. It's the easiest. It is the default. Whenever we're going through something, we self-isolate. We could be in a room full of people and still be isolated, not connecting, not knowing. We can walk by and clink glasses and we don't even know anybody's first name. We're just not present. Community is so key. If you can find that, for me, here's my thing. If you can find that with just one or two people, you're good. You don't need 50 or 60. You don't need to remember 50 people's names. If you have one or two, if it's somebody, even if it's me, if it's Rory, if it's just one person, two people that you in a group thread with, I promise you, I've seen the results of this. Your growth can be exponential just in that community because it opens up the door for openness and transparency. It allows you to kind of be who authentic and it allows you to be able to see some examples of some things that maybe you know what I can work with. I mean, if they came through this kind of same story, I can go through this too. That's one of the best things about AA. You get to hear people's stories, and you know what? You mean I wasn't the only one that was going through this? I thought it was just me because you were in isolation. That was the trick. That was the plan to keep you in isolation so you can't see it. You know what? Your story is, it may hurt a lot, but it's not that unique. Somebody else has the same kind of story as you do. You just didn't know that because you were under the shroud of isolation. So for me, the biblical aspect, the standard that has been time honored for centuries from the beginning of time, and the community piece. If you can find that, if it's just one person, because it starts with one person. It starts with you saying, you know what, I want to have community. If you can find that with Rory, his show is fantastic. If you can find that with him, I'm sure he'd be open to have that kind of conversation because he's passionate about this. Myself, I'd be happy to be a part of that. I mean, you might know somebody who's in your life that's already there, been beckoning you to do this for a while. You know, step into the community. It's where we heal. It's where we get healed. It's where we get fed. It's in community.
I could not have written a better answer for that.
Come on, man.
That was that was spot on. Folks, I didn't prep him for any of this. I mean, I just hit him with that out of left
I
field.
ain't
We
been
didn't even
prepped
talk
at
about
all,
that.
man.
No. And so that was 100% from the heart. I don't know. I just saw it, man. I just saw that. I was like, if I ask him this, I'm going to get a great answer. Brother, I got a great answer. Um,
Oh gosh, thank you,
I,
sir.
I love this. I love you coming on here and just being open and authentic and just sharing the way you have, man. let me just in the interest of time, because I could talk to you forever. I
Same
think
here,
you and
brother.
I
I'm
could just
enjoying
keep
this.
going back and forth. But in the interest of time, let me start kind of bringing us down to a close a little bit. You have brought so much to the show, though, and we've talked about so many different things. Let me kind of give you the opportunity here to maybe dig in, pick on something that maybe we missed. Is there anything I didn't ask you? Is there anything that we talked about? Maybe you want to drive home, a little more, or if we've covered all that stuff, then maybe there's a nugget, a leave behind, something else you want to make sure the audience thinks of when they think of Yusef Marshall, being on the show today.
My God.
I mean, any of those things. The floor is yours for the next few minutes, and have at it.
I think we covered a lot of stuff. I think what I'll just say, and I try to be brief. What I'm learning about in this stage of my life, I'm a little bit older, despite my young looks. I'm a lot older than many, and I am learning about me. It's not great. It's a little painful. Pruning is not it's not great for the tree. It's great overall, but it doesn't feel good to the tree. So pruning is where I'm at in life right now. And what I'm learning about is that I'm learning how to I'm learning how to assess what value is to me, and also I'm a, I'm kind of putting. I used to think about quantity was the most important thing. I'm from New York, so that's kind of what they teach atmospherically, I guess. But what I'm learning now is that quality is more important than quantity. We know that here. We heard that in our ears before, but I'm really learning that. And for me, I know you can probably go and find a guru anywhere. You can find somebody who is, more qualified than myself or Rory to be a mentor, a coach, or a teacher. You can find people who are here who have all the credentials and they just look great on paper. I've met them. Most of them are boring. You know what I'm saying? But that's just sorry. That's just side. That was my inner Mr. U came out. Sorry, but that happens from time to time. But what I'm saying is you can find that anywhere. But I implore you today. And I use that word on purpose. I implore you today. Seek the authentic. Seek purpose. The uh seek quality over the quantity. Seek that because if you can find that in life, you'll always be much better off. So if I can leave you anything, if if the Power Man podcast is going to help you if you give it a chance for sure. So give Rory a chance. If you listen for the first time and you haven't been able to find something that kind of does it for you, give him a shot because it's doing it for me, and I'm very very new to this community, and it's doing it for me already. So I mean, if it's not Rory, if you just can't get there, if it's not me, let us maybe help find what you help you find what you need. But to me, I'm like I value quality over quantity, and this is just an awesome opportunity to be here to do this with you. And if we can help somebody who's listening, who's watching this, I think I can speak for you in this that we would love the chance to do that because I mean honestly, life is hard, and we go through stuff that people don't know about. We have a silent scream. I did an episode on this recently about the bitter cry, the cry that Esau had. Everybody that cry is indescribable. Matter of fact, I probably shouldn't talk about it. I'll probably bust out crying right now. So I'm gonna just try to just keep that brief. But it comes from such a deep place when you kind of feel like, you know what? Nobody gets me. What's for me out here? What do I have? And people start going into places where they start thinking about ending their life. They start thinking about, doing things to themselves or doing things to others because they just feel like nobody listened to me. Nobody's hearing my scream. Nobody listening to what I'm saying. They can't hear me. Rory and I, we get it. And we would love the opportunity to be able to speak to you offline, off to the side, away from the public eye, just kind of speak to you and hear what you have to say. And maybe we have something to offer. Maybe we have some advice to give. If not, at least we can do is listen. That that somebody in the world cares about what you're talking about. So in case you come into a dark place and be like, you know what, nobody cares, you remember our faces. And you remember that we do actually care. Because I've done this kind of stuff literally for 29 years now, consistently. I wasn't getting paid for it. I didn't have a blog. I have one a while back. I didn't have my own website. I wasn't passing out business cards. I was doing this stuff on the side in silence, in obscurity for almost 3 decades. And guess what? I'm still doing it now because I believe in every single individual person and their value in this world. So Rory does too. Brother, thanks for giving me the chance to chat with you. This has been the most fun I had since I've been doing this, man. So I love
I'll
this, man.
take it. I will take it. That's a
This
huge
is
compliment.
fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Wow, the silent scream.
It's a real thing, man.
That's that hit hard.
Yeah. I wish I
That,
can get into it, but I don't
mm,
think emotionally I can take it.
that's
So,
no, that's another whole episode. We could do a whole episode on that, man.
oh yeah, it's a real thing.
Yeah, wow. Great way to wrap it up, man. Great way to wrap it up. All right, folks, you've heard this whole thing. It's been amazing to be on this side of this conversation. I got to be honest with you. Yeah, podcaster, founder of Mirror Time Media, his podcast They Call Me Mista Yu, with his three offshoots, author of The Heart of the Stepfather, ordained minister, and frankly, I think most importantly, husband, father, grandfather, great grandfather.
Yeah.
Uh, Yusef Marshall, brother, thank you for coming on the show and
Thank you for having me,
doing
bro. This was a blast, man.
just doing what you did.
This was
It's
amazing.
you are, and
You
I
had a great
appreciate you
show,
being
man. I
here.
love this, man. Your show is awesome, man.
Thank you.
I love this show, man. I'm a fan, man. I'm gonna follow you everywhere I can find you now. This is great, man. I love it. This
Thank
is
you very
fantastic,
much.
man.
He's going to send me an invoice for this afterwards, guys, because I
No,
mean,
sir.
this kind of advertising
No,
you
sir.
can't buy.
No, this is great.
I appreciate you, man. Thanks for being on.
Oh, thank you, sir.
All
This is
right.
great.
Folks, this has been another incredible episode of the Power Man podcast. The reason that we bring on incredible men like this, having these intense, incredible conversations that are so very powerful, is because we, Yusef and I especially, we want to do everything we can to help you in your pursuit of being a better protector, a better provider, a better leader tomorrow for yourself and your family than you are today, being a better man, being a better husband, being a better father than you tomorrow than you are today.
Yes, sir.
The reason that we do this is because you have value, your family has value, and you're worth it. And at some point, you just have to believe it. Until
Mm.
next time.